I grew up around a psychopath as a child. Fascinating man with interesting stories. He had survived the tail end of World War II, was part of the cleanup of Germany after the war had ended. He met my grandmother painting her barn and her young son, my father, who was around 10 to 12 years old. He was a divorced man with 4 kids. Somehow he was able to convince the judge to split the kids, give him custody, full custody of 2, and his ex-wife full custody of the other 2. Splitting twins. A ruthless man, he was an alcoholic and ruled the family with a mercurial temper. My father used to sleep in the truck while he drank the paycheck away and then drive the man home using blocks to reach the pedals. The family had suffered a fire. Too poor, they spent a cold winter in Michigan in a tent. After a night drinking, he'd stumble into the house. My grandmother would lock the bedroom door, yet he would crawl into his daughter's bed to grape them. They'd cut wood to heat the house. Somehow an accident happened, breaking my grandmother's ribs and back. He dragged her back to the house on the back of a tractor. She didn't know how she'd survived the incident. We'd visit them occasionally. My parents would keep a tight rein on my sisters and I, keeping us far out of his arm's reach. Yet he'd want us to sit on his lap. My grandmother was terrified to divorce him, so she filed for a legal separation, hoping he'd get bored and move on. She put a special deadbolt on the house so he couldn't break in. I knew he was bad when I saw my grandmother's terror, a woman who'd ran a farm independently. This was a strong woman who had no problem ending relationships, yet she stayed with him for years. And it wasn't out of love. Do you want to learn more about this scary group? Come to the live webinar and listen to me interview Sandra L. Brown, expert researcher who's treated this group for over 30 years. Come find why we find them so fascinating, why they're so dangerous, and why it's so tough to get out of a relationship with one.